In the headlines, NNPC resumes oil exploration in Lake Chad after it was abandoned 6 years ago due to insurgency. Presidential Election Tribunal merges Atiku Obi's petition against Tinubu's victory, fixes May 30 for hearing. President Buhari commissioned second Niger bridge named after him by Southeast governors. And on the foreign scene, protesters in Ethiopia's Tigray demand withdrawal of outside forces. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. And now the news in detail. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has commenced an oil drilling campaign at Wadibi in Jere local government area of Borno State. The Group Chief Executive Officer, Mele Kyari, said on Tuesday that the company is optimistic that the drilling exercise will help in its efforts to bring prosperity to the people through the elimination of energy poverty, which is threatening Africa's biggest economy. Kyari disclosed this at the presidential flag-off of Wadibi drilling campaign by President Muhammadu Buhari in Borno State.
And this campaign will take us to the ultimate objective, which is to increase the reserve of our country and also create opportunities around us. We believe that the time for oil and gas to vanish is still far away. We believe that the oil and gas will continue to be very principal in the determination of prosperity of our country, and of course, more especially providing energy security for our country. And this can't happen except you have access to the resources, you are able to convert them into value, and of course, a new approach to doing this as quickly as is practical, which is to do what we are doing now in the Kolmani area. Wherever we find new oil, we will consider the concept of integrated production and conversion so that value can be created very, very quickly. So that, of course, there's huge energy poverty across the world, more so in South African countries, and particularly so in our country here.
The Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal has set Tuesday, May 30, to commence hearing in the petitions challenging election of Bola Tinubu of the APC as president-elect. This followed consolidation of 3 petitions filed by PDP, Labour Party presidential candidates, with that of APM. Noel Sampson has the details.
Chairman of the tribunal, Justice Haruna Tamani, announced the consolidation of the petitions on Tuesday. Counsel for Atiku Abubakar, Chris Uche, expressed satisfaction with the court's decision, saying ending the pre-hearing section will usher in hearing proper into the substantive petition.
In order to fast-track trial, we prepare what is called a witness statement on oath. So all that a witness is supposed to state are already contained there. So no need the witness coming and repeating what is already there. The witness merely adopts that witness statement on oath.
The Labour Party Council accused the nation's electoral umpire of trying to delay the process by not granting them access to election results as demanded by the petitioners.
Notwithstanding that up to this moment, they are yet to give us all the documents we require. I continue to ask, why is INEC behaving in this way and manner? What are they hiding? What are they hiding? They are supposed to be neutral. But they are behaving as if INEC is a candidate in its own election. This should never be so. And that is, Nigeria is the only country where you find something like this. There's no other country. I challenge you to go and investigate and find out about electoral bodies in other African countries, except, of course, countries under military rule.
The tribunal adjourned to May 30th to begin hearing. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The coalition of opposition political parties in the 10th House of Representatives, known as Greater Majority, says it has not endorsed anyone for speakership and deputy speakership positions in the 10th Assembly. This was disclosed by the convener of the caucus, Fred Agbedi, at the 4th session of the forum held in Abuja. He said that members of the coalition of minority caucuses are to interact with stakeholders in their various states as well as party stakeholders to arrive at a decision on the presiding officers. The convener thereby inaugurated state coordinators from among the members with the mandate to meet at their various state levels and report back to the caucus periodically.
Your convener and conveners and other leaders have not, either on your behalf or with you, adopted anybody for the office of presiding officers. Please. That will only take place when that agreement is reached by all of us. That decision will be our collective decision. But I'm even saying that before we get to that decision, we are going to ensure that for example, I come from Bayelsa. I should be able to speak with my governor. I should be able to speak with my party leaders, so that whatever I'm keyed into is with the understanding that my stakeholders are on the same page with me. And that is what, for some of us, we expect of all of us to do.
A northern group pleads with the All Progressives Congress to allocate the Deputy Senate's presidency to the North Central region, emphasizing the importance of fairness and justice. The request was made by a coalition of APC geopolitical zone support groups during a news briefing in Kaduna. The report.
The coalition, led by Abubakar Ali Bagwe, its Northwest coordinator, while addressing newsmen, said that the Northwest can have the Speaker of the House of Representatives, but the Deputy Senate President should go to the North Central in view of its contribution to the electoral victory of the party. He said his group will insist on a reconsideration of the National Assembly zoning arrangement to include the North Central, which has been neglected.
In the spirit of fairness, equity, justice, inclusiveness, and national unity, we hereby call on the APC National Working Committee and the President-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to review the National Assembly leadership zoning arrangement to include North Central so as to give each section of the country a sense of belonging.
The coalition aligns with the viewpoint expressed by Rotimi Akeredolusan, the governor of Ondo State, as well as the North Central governors and senators regarding the marginalization of the North Central zone.
We, the coalition of APC geopolitical zone support group, Northwest, are also saying no to favorism and no to marginalization of the North Central. There shouldn't be favorism or preference to any section of the country, and no region should be marginalized, excluded or sidelined.
The group maintains that even when considering political loyalty and performance, the North Central region deserves the Deputy Senate President position, given its performance and loyalty to the party. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State on Tuesday dissolved the State Executive Council. The governor equally terminated the appointments of political office holders, urging them to hand over government properties in their custody. This was contained in a letter dated 23rd May 2023 and signed by the Chief of Staff to the Governor, Otumba Segun Ogunwuyi, who also doubles as the Chairman, Transition and Inauguration Committee. In the letter, Makinde urged all political office holders to officially hand over and submit all government properties in their possession to the most senior civil servant in their respective ministries, departments, and agencies. Now moving on to security, airstrikes carried out by the Nigerian Air Force fighter jets have reportedly killed an unconfirmed number of ISWAP terrorists in Turo and Ambia villages in Gujba local government area of Yobe State. The terrorists were said to have been eliminated on Monday afternoon after the fighter jet bombed the ISWAP position in an intelligence-led operation. Sources from the intelligence community also told Zagazola Makama, a counterinsurgency expert and security analyst in Lake Chad region, that the airstrikes were carried out following surveillance missions showing 8 gun trucks conveying ISWAP fighters. The sources say many of them were killed in the process. The headquarters of Operation Hatinkai is yet to release a statement on the operation. Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola says government is supporting paramilitary services to strengthen national security. The minister said this while commissioning headquarters of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Birnin Kebbi. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Interior, Dr. Shaibu Belgore, who represented the minister to commission the edifice, encouraged the officers and men of the command to put more effort in ensuring security of life and properties in the state. He pointed out that the primary objective of the NSCDC is the protection of critical national infrastructure. NSCDC Commandant General Abubakar Audi expresses gratitude to the government of President Muhammadu Buhari for providing the opportunity to improve the welfare of staff through provisions of befitting office accommodation. The Secretary to Kebbi State Government, Babale Umar Yauri, who represented Governor Atiku Bagudu, also congratulated officers and men of the command for having a permanent accommodation, charging them to do more, especially in Kebbi South, where banditry remains a big challenge. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday in Abuja virtually commissioned 3 bridges, including the famous Second Niger Bridge, 3 secretariats and 1 road project undertaken by his administration. Speaking at the virtual commissioning of the projects, the president said making infrastructure development a key point of focus in his administration was a deliberate action to create wealth and make poverty alleviation easier. President Buhari, who defended criticisms of the debt profile of his administration, maintained that debts were tied to projects that had been executed in very transparent circumstances and were there for everyone to see, adding that the wealth of other nations was traceable to their investments in infrastructure made possible by debts redeemed over decades. The president, in a statement by his spokesman, Garba Shehu, spoke on the significance of projects which he described as frontal efforts to address multidimensional poverty, as well as improve business efficiency and service delivery time. President Buhari also commissioned 200 kilometers out of the 365 kilometers Abuja-Kano Highway, noting that the road, the Second Niger Bridge and Lagos-Ibadan Expressway were all fully funded, partly from dividends income earned from investment in the Nigeria liquefied natural gas, repatriated funds from overseas, and recoveries from proceeds of crimes successfully prosecuted at home. The president also commissioned 3 federal secretariats in Anambra, Bayelsa, and Zamfara states, believing that they would reduce the cost of governance by bringing federal civil servants under one roof for efficient service delivery, thereby reducing expenditure on rent for office spaces.
3 major bridges, the local Weto Bridge, the Second Niger Bridge, and the Econ bridges. A completed section of over 200 kilometers of road on the Kano-Kaduna Highway, and 3 new federal secretariats in Guzo, Oka, and Yenigua. Today, Mr. President will connect Benue to Nasarawa on the local Weto Bridge, Cross River to Benue on the Econ Bridge, and Anambra to Delta on the Second Niger Bridge.
We do not act on infrastructure by accident. It has been a deliberate choice for our government as a tool to fight poverty, to create economic growth and employment, and to open the path of prosperity for our people. I am not oblivious of the concerns and debates about our stock of public debt. Those concerns are legitimate and in many instances well-meaning. Many of the debts are tied to projects and are transparent and verifiable.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break, we take a look at how residents recount their service years. Do stay with us.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130.
A Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Trust News Update. Here's a recap of some of our top stories. You heard that NNPC resumes oil exploration in Lake Chad after it was abandoned 6 years ago due to insurgency. You also heard that Presidential Election Tribunal merges Atiku Obi's petition against Tinubu's victory, fixes May 30 for hearing. Moving to more stories, Nigerian government in 2019 closed its borders in order to promote local production and tackle armed proliferation. Highlighting the benefits of the policy, President Muhammadu Buhari, who spoke on the sidelines of commissioning of the new corporate headquarters of the Nigerian Customs, says the country has now attained self-sufficiency in rice production. Trust TV's Chamunda Beng reports.
The decision by the federal government to close the nation's borders did not sit well with majority of Nigerians, as it further deepened economic hardship and prices of manufactured goods went up. But President Buhari says beyond dealing with proliferation of arms and ammunition into the country, the closure has also added value to food sufficiency.
You eat what you grow what you eat, or you die. I try to make my point. And later, Nigeria appreciated it because it provides more jobs. People go back to the land. We have the land, and we produce what we eat. Later, whoever grow excess rice, eat his own rice or sell it somewhere else, but not to Nigeria. And for people who think that our neighbors can be a nuisance, okay, there's nothing you can do with our neighbor. That was why when I became the head of state, of the president, my first visit was to Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. Because neighborhood based on personal and national issue is very important. If you don't secure the confidence and cooperation of your neighbor, you are in trouble. If you are not in trouble, your children and grandchildren will be in trouble.
Speaking on the multi-billion naira customs edifice, Deputy Comptroller General of Nigeria Customs Service Bashir Adeniyi says the project was first conceived in 2002 and implementation began in 2007. The project is sitting on 25,000 square meters of land, which cost the federal government 19.6 billion naira. Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service Hamid Ali says the NCS headquarters is cost-effective and efficient.
I would therefore like to express our deepest appreciation and gratitude to Your Excellency, Mr. President, for your firm support and commitment to the Nigerian Customs Service throughout your tenure. Your vision, leadership, and dedication to the development of our nation have been pivotal in shaping the transformation of the Customs Service. Under your guidance, we have witnessed remarkable milestones that have revolutionized our operations.
As we inaugurate this magnificent headquarters, we must recognize that it presents more than just bricks, iron, and steel. It symbolizes progress, innovation, and a resolute commitment to excellence. This state-of-the-art facility will serve as a hub for trade facilitation, for compliance, as well as strategic planning and capacity building.
The Nigerian customs is central to the implementation of the border closure, which has generated huge controversies in the country. It is not clear, however, if the incoming administration will reverse the decision due to public outcry. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Nigerians have continued to give their account of the National Youth Service Corps as the scheme celebrates its 50th anniversary. In Benue State, residents recount their service years with a sense of pride and nostalgia. Jimmy Azande has the report.
Some ESCO members say it was a good experience serving their fatherland. They said the scheme has helped promote national integration, promoting the unity and culture integral aspects of the scheme.
I served for NYC compulsory service in 2002 in Kano State. There was language barrier, but that wasn't anything to write home about. We didn't see it as a language barrier because when you accept a people as they are, they open up to you. And that was exactly what happened. And I used to say, if I am opportune to say, what do you think maybe the people of Senyawa local government need? I will be able to put you exactly that if you do this for these people, you solve their problem.
And the experience is very fantastic because you get to know the culture of other people, what is done in other places, and until you get to other places, you will not appreciate what is done in your place.
So it was an exceptional experience, I must say. Exceptional experience. Getting to know other people from different parts of the country. NYC is a place where culture interlaces with each other.
As the scheme reflects on 50 years of existence, these ESCO members also highlighted some of its challenges.
The government need also to make the scheme in such a way that about maybe 5% of people, 5% of people or 10% of people sent to work to have this experience should be given appointment in those places so that they can stay. And if the federal government want, they can stay there. If they are given federal appointment, they can stay there, work for the federal government for like maybe 10 years.
The scheme should have been tailored now to address that very important problem which is affecting mostly the youth. And so because the program is for the youth, the scheme is for the youth, and the level of unemployment now is very high, I think that the government should refocus the philosophy of that program, of that scheme, to address the problem of unemployment now.
Major complaint was that there was no the food prepared in the camp wasn't that good, so they opted for other alternatives. Another challenge is that it's the infrastructure. It's a general problem. We as Nigerians have a problem of maintaining public structures, and so as the year runs by, these structures continue to deteriorate without any level of refurbishing or reconstruction.
On 23rd March 1973, General Yakubu Gowon, then head of state, as part of measures to encourage unity after the Nigerian Civil War, established a scheme as part of his reconciliation, reconstruction and rehabilitation policy.
Away from Nigeria, thousands of people demonstrated on Tuesday in northern Ethiopia's Tigray region to demand the return home of people displaced by a 2-year war and the withdrawal of outside forces that have remained there since the conflict ended. The war between government troops and their allies from neighboring Eritrea and the Amhara region on one side and Tigrayan forces on the other concluded with a truce last November after claiming tens of thousands of lives. Millions were forced from their homes, including hundreds of thousands from land disputed by Tigray and Amhara, whose security forces and militiamen continue to occupy the area. According to humanitarian workers, Eritrean troops also remain inside Ethiopian territory in several border towns. Demonstrators peacefully rallied on Tuesday in several major cities, including the regional capital Mekelle, Adigrat, and Shire. They held signs with slogans like "Invaders must leave our homeland," according to footage broadcast on Tigray TV, which is controlled by the party that runs Tigray. Henok Hiluf, who took part in the protest in Mekelle, told writers that about 3,500 and 4,000 are demonstrating there. In sports, Bukayo Salaki, I'll take that again. In sports, Bukayo Saka has signed a new deal to stay at Arsenal until 2027, saying the club is the right place to make the next step. The England forward has scored 14 goals for the Gunners this season, contributing 11 assists. Just 21 years old, he has already made 178 appearances for the club and has featured in all Arsenal's Premier League games over the past 2 campaigns. Saka's previous deal was due to expire at the end of the 2023-2024 season. Second-placed Arsenal host Wolves in their final game of the season on Sunday, having missed out on the Premier League title to Manchester City. Next season, the Gunners will play Champions League football after a 6-year absence. And finally, France will deploy 35,000 security and military personnel to protect the Paris 2024 Olympic Games opening ceremony from threats including drone attacks. The opening ceremony will take place along a 6-kilometer stretch of the river Seine, featuring 160 boats with athletes and officials from more than 200 countries. Crowds of more than 600,000 people are expected to line the route. The Paris 2024 opening ceremony will be the first held outside of a stadium at the Summer Games. Organizers are planning to install the Olympic flame on the Eiffel Tower, although not on the top of the monument. The 2024 Olympics take place from 26 July to 11 August 2024. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.